Alright, Nifty Thrifty Girl here, featuring a vintage Kenmore model 1660, 1660. This is a 1660 zero, so if anybody's wondering for the technicalities, it's a low shank machine. It is a convertible machine, and this of course means that, and I gotta move all this stuff here, this machine's the best of both worlds basically. You can use it here as you see it as a flatbed machine, or with the push of a button back here, the bed extension slides off, and in one movement you have a free arm. Free arm, of course, is accessible from all sides. Great for pants, legs, shirt sleeves, small clothing like baby clothes, doggy clothes. Just anything that is a real pain in the butt to sew with the flatbed. So this machine's the best of both worlds, and if you've ever done any amount of sewing, you know that at one time or another you need a free arm. And if you've not sewn before, this will be your first machine. Believe me, you're going to need this free arm. So you might as well buy a machine right off the bat that will let you use it both ways, because if you buy a flatbed machine first, you are going to end up buying a free arm. It's just a given. This machine is a little beat up cosmetically. Not totally horrible, but it's not as nice as the last one I listed last week. It's just got some paint dings, and I will slide this back on here. Now, of course, your bobbin access is right here in front of the free arm. It's your class 15 bobbin. And we'll slide this back on. Now, if you need to access your bobbin and you don't want to take off the deck, you can easily do that by just taking off this little panel. And this accesses your bobbin area, and this little lever right here is your feed dog drop. So you don't have to take off the whole extension to access the bobbin, which is cool. Now, back to the cosmetic issue. As you can see, it has some paint dings here along the edge of this little panel. Some paint loss here and here. It's just maybe scissors have dinged it or something. And then it has some paint issues, not major, just little dings here and there. Other places, like up here on the top corner is some little paint dings. Down here on this corner are some paint dings, and on the end, and even some on the back. But of course, these paint dings don't affect the functionality of the machine at all. It's a smooth running machine. It sounds really good. It's a 1 amp all metal machine. There's no plastic in this machine at all. It has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 built-in stitches, including both stretch and regular. Your reverse buttons here, it is double needle capable. All the patterns can be done with a double needle, as long as you set your width correctly. Now, to access the stretch patterns, all you do is change from the red dot to the white dot right here in the center. Boom, you're on stretch. Boom, you're back on regular. Red is regular, white is stretch. Pretty easy. Tabletop ready, just serviced the same as the rest of our machines. One nice thing about these Kenmores, and I always point this out, is they have really, really nice lift. Good presser foot lift clearance. 6/4 can get under there. And that's with the feed dogs raised. And that does not mean that this machine will sew something that thick, but that just means that it's going to be much easier to get your project in between the foot and the feed dogs without snagging or any kind of, problems getting it in there. Some of the whites and dressmakers, actually all the whites and dressmakers, do not have any lift at all. And they're a real pain sometimes to get a thicker piece of fabric under there. So that's a really nice feature of the Kenmore. The Kenmore is very easy to use. This is an all-mechanical machine. It has no computerized buttons. There's nothing electronic about this machine at all. It's all mechanical. You should be able to service this machine at home and maintain this machine at home. This machine should never have to see the shop. Toothbrush, ball of oil, you can maintain this machine straight up. But we'll go from there. It does come with the zigzag foot, a satin stitch foot, a straight stitch foot, couple needles and bobbins, and also the complete external buttonholer. The buttonholer panel replaces this panel, goes in. So this is your complete external buttonholer that fits this model. PDF copy of the instruction manual to be sent via email after you purchase. So, after all that rigmarole, we're going to do a little bit of sewing with it, and we'll show you that it's a fully working machine. Here we go. She's nice and smooth. I just love the sound of the Kenmore. They're just so wonderful. They're my favorite. And if you ever use one and then you go to use another machine, you'll understand why. So we flip over here to a zigzag. The noise that you hear is my noisy spool of thread. I don't know why this spool of thread is so dang noisy, but it is. It's rattling against the spool pin. It's nothing to do with the machine at all. Now we're going to change up a little bit. I'm going to switch over to the multi-point zigzag, which is three times each way, and it makes a zigzag. The machine's not super heavy either. It is all metal, but it's not, you know, like a 40-pound beast, so it makes it nice. Now I'm going to switch over to a stretch. And when you're doing your stretch stitches, you pretty much always want your stitch length to be at 6 when you're on a stretch. That's just the way they like it in the instruction manual and everything, so I try to adhere to that. So I'm just going to change the center knob, and we are in stretch. And this is a pattern that you often see on a bodice of a vintage blouse or a sundress. You'll see this pattern quite often. But as you can see, the feed dogs are working properly for the stretch stitches. Let's change over, and this is a pine leaf. It's a 1-amp machine. You can see she just rolls right along. No issues. We're going to go back over here to straight stitch. Nice stitches. And we're going to do some denim. So we got 2, 3, 4, 5 layers of real Levi's denim. I'm using a size 16 needle. Of course, you don't want to blast through it as fast as you can because you will break your needle. You know, just because it'll do it don't mean you have to do it. Give it some time to do its own work. But this is the perfect time for me to point out the lift of the presser foot. I mean, even with the pressure all the way down up here, you can see that I can still lift this foot up and get this 5 layers of denim under there without having it snag on the feed dogs or anything. And this is really important if you're sewing silk or satin or anything that's easily snaggable, if that's even a word. But that lift is a very, very nice feature of the Kenmores. So that, in a nutshell, is your convertible model 1660 Kenmore.